Guys, let's just take a moment of tribute for Illinois. Illinois. Let's remember some of the stuff we love about it. Number one, city of Chicago, known for its renowned quiet and peacefulness. Number two, Obama, very peaceful man, had that peace prize. He got that peace prize. Obviously, he's a peace-loving man if he got that. Number three, all those documentaries on those gangbangers on the National Geographic. I mean, would we ever have that without Illinois? I don't think so. I mean, maybe we probably still would, but, not the same sort of gangsters and gangbangers. So it looks like Bruce Rauner vetoed the bill that would have allowed Illinois to stay solvent and come up with a budget. Now, solvent should be in quotation marks because they're not really solvent. They're still insolvent. The thing is, I mean, good on him for, turning it down, vetoing this bill. This whole thing is a bunch of nonsense because they're going to try to do these phony spending cuts and these permanent tax increases as if they're going to do anything to change the status of Illinois. Now, a lot of people were talking about, Illinois getting bailed out. And I said this, I think they're going to get bailed out. If the government has the choice between allowing Illinois to default and bailing them out, they're going to bail them out 10 times out of 10 because for them to not bail them out would cause a huge domino effect if Illinois defaulted because that debt spreads out throughout the entire states. All 50 states, that debt is spread out. So, the states are interconnected. I mean, you look at this chart right here, and these things called federal grants from the federal government that is basically handed out to a lot of these states that are cash strapped, that don't have enough money, are running huge budget deficits, and are making big promises. And the government kind of wants to keep that going because what you have to understand is the government wants to keep this, Ponzi scheme going as far as this fiscal solvency, this illusion of fiscal solvency, because there is nothing solvent about the state of all these 50 states. If you combine them all together, they're all in pretty bad shape. And even the states that keep their budgets balanced, they're doing it by really, sort of cutting in areas where you would think that if they had a normal economy, they wouldn't need to cut in. But overall, there is a huge amount of debt, and there isn't really much to show for it. The federal government can get away with it because it has the reserve currency, so it can print out a lot of money. And a lot of the states don't have that ability, but they're still getting money from the federal government via federal grants. And these federal grants are coming basically from the Federal Reserve, right? Because the U.S. government borrows tens of billions of dollars every year, and it's just reshuffling those to the states. And if it weren't for that money, there would be nothing to reshuffle back to states like Illinois or California because these states are not viable on their own, right? There's just no way. The federal government needs the printing press to continue to make them viable because I don't care what you say, California is not a viable state. There's no way it's viable on its own. With all that's going on right now and all the promises that they're making, there's no way they're viable on their own. So the federal government has to constantly bail out these states, and they're going to continue to do that. And with Illinois right now, I have no idea where it's going. The federal government is going to step in if Bruce Rauner continues to veto these budgets. And these budgets are a sham as far as I'm concerned, because what the state really needs to do is default on the debt and then just start from scratch. At that point on, maybe they can build an economy that's stable. Maybe they can balance their budget again. I don't know. There's a lot of structural problems with the state, but at least there's a hope if they default. But unfortunately, because they're entangled in this web of debt that encompasses all 50 states, they just can't do that without putting themselves in a lot of trouble and putting the rest of the other states in a lot of trouble as well. Because what a lot of people don't understand is even states that have budget surpluses or unbalanced budgets, a lot of the stuff that's owed to them, right? Let's say for Texas, it might be lending out money to either directly or indirectly to states that are insolvent. And if they default, Texas might not get their money back. And it might be lending out money to, a lot of other private entities that are reliant on these states. So the whole thing is like this interconnected web of debt. And if Chicago doesn't get its act together, the federal government is going to step in because there's no way they can allow this to go on and for them to default or for their credit rating to go down, because that's going to cause a huge amount of problems for a lot of the other states. But guys, let me know what you think about this. Comment in the comment section below, like if you liked, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.